Ladies and gentlemen in-house, and those of you watching from home, welcome back to the MLG World Final. Dota 2 action here as we get back into semifinals of the championship bracket. Kyle Guy going to be joined again from Melk and Nahaz. Gentlemen, here we are once again. Game 3 hype in the semifinals. And well, interesting tweet coming out from Sumail. Very distraught. I can't say it on air, but I will say he was very caught off that Shiki was able to bring him down. Expect him to come back with a vengeance.
What did he say? Like, include some censorship. What did he say?
He said, I can't believe I effing died to Shiki.
Okay. Well, that's very conservative of him.
Well,
I can't believe he did either. He died on level 2 or 3, played a bit too aggressively. He even saw Shiki run up for that Dragon Slave. He got hit in between his two towers. It was a bit of a surprising death. Not very uncharacteristically, though. We often see Sumail push it to the limit and just, you know, sometimes die from it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the difference that we saw in the last patch. He would often play on a Storm Spirit or Lina. He'd play super aggressively, often positioning himself at the top of the other mid steps. Would die a couple times in lanes, but those heroes can come back due to stack farming. Magnus can farm stacks a little bit, but not really in the same way, and it wasn't able to secure himself back into that game.
so what do we look to now? That Shiki Lina was pretty damn impressive. Was it impressive enough to actually consider the ban on it, or is it just something to keep in the back of your mind now? We said the same thing about Sumail's Queen of Pain after game 1. It did deserve the ban at that point. Do we have to change things up once more?
I can see the hatred in his eyes right now. I think he wants to play up against that Lina. I think he wants to demolish it and just prove, not to anyone else, just to himself, that he is the better player. I don't think they'll commit a ban to a Lina, not early on anyways. I think both CDEC and EG knows that it's a 4 to 5 pick rotation hero in the current meta, and it's really circumstantial as well. You need to have a favorable matchup, as Nahaz was saying earlier. So I don't expect them to pick Lina unless there is a good matchup for it. That being said, they did have a lot of success with it, and I was surprised that EG wouldn't go with the Queen of Pain for game 2.
Now, was that a playstyle that we might expect to see again? It seemed like it was all around Arteezy, and they had a lot of defensive measures for him. And then if worse came to worse, they would try to stall out. They put together this huge fortitude, a strong base defense that if they needed time, they would be able to, you know, get that time. But the unfortunate thing is CDEC was very disappointed.
Exactly, that's exactly what I mentioned earlier before we went into the game. I don't think Anti-Mage is necessarily a hero that you even need to pick. There's better ways of ending the game. There's better ways of having a better late game hero. And all it really does is revolve around you protecting it until it comes online. It doesn't really help much fighting or anything, which is why the Ember Spirit is such a favorite pick in comparison. Even the Juggernaut I would have preferred to that of an Anti-Mage. And I feel like it's the wrong way of approaching the current meta game, and I think they should step away from it, because they are a team of greats, right? All these players are amazing players in their own right. There's no reason for them to have this backup plan in the Anti-Mage. They might as well just bring it to the enemy early on.
Yeah, I don't know, Mo. I think everything you said is basically sound, but at the same time, I don't necessarily see anything that happened in that last game as an indictment of EG's draft beyond the fact that you just can't give Shiki that favorable a matchup. I think Sumail, I agree with you, I think Sumail would love to play against Lina again. I just think he wants to play on a different hero. I think if he's playing on a Queen of Pain, I think if he's playing on any kind of a ranged hero, that matchup is totally different. I would love to see him on a Wind Ranger, for example.
Oh yeah, definitely. But CDC actually banned that out knowing that Arteezy likes to play that Wind Ranger. Another thing I want to point out is that we talked a lot about the Lina and how CDC just played their game, but this Spirit Breaker pickup,
yeah, I thought EG
really
could have picked that third instead of the AM.
I thought so too, and what the Spirit Breaker really did was not so much that it came in with its charge. Well, sure enough, in the early game especially, you know, he was the initiator, but it's more so the fact that, for instance, when you charge the Anti-Mage, there's nowhere to hide.
Well, this is another thing, you know what, I always forget about this when I'm breaking down lane matchups, but when you're talking about that big a thrashing mid, you actually have to talk about the influence of some of the other heroes, because anytime that Spirit Breaker is off map, out of vision, Sumail just has to play so careful in an otherwise unfavorable lane to begin with. I think that may have had something to do with a lot of that early CS deficit is just not something we ever see from Sumail.
Well, gentlemen, here is our draft now for the start of game number 3. What it started as a best of 3, now down to a best of 1. winner moving on into that grand final spot. The loser, MLG, will be concluding for them. CDC are going to be opening up with a ban out on the Shadow Fiend. Evil Geniuses are going to be removing the Tusk here. So notable bans that still need to be happening here. The Doom still out there and at the ready. And then we'll have to see if Ember Spirit is going to be another first possible grab. It is going to be CDEC who do have the first pick.
I wouldn't be surprised if either team let the Doombringer through now, just to open up the second pick for them. I don't think it's a strong hero by all means, probably the strongest in the current meta, but we haven't seen CDC play it much. We know they don't really go outside of their TI5 thinking, and at the same time,
I just think it's awfully tough because
I think EG should let it be right now. I think they should.
I don't think so.
This is a YOLO moment. This is just where you say, you know what, let's force them into picking it and then just get whatever we want, or we get the Doombringer and we know we play it so superbly well. Like they had the Universe being on top of the CS charts despite being an offlane player. Then afterwards they made Fear have a, well, okay, they should have probably lost that game, but regardless, they made a 4-position Doombringer that didn't even jungle work.
To me, with EG, the problem with allowing a Doom through if you're EG is that you rely so heavily on 2 players that snowball, and Doom is just such a hard counter to that Sumail, all of a sudden he can get off to one of these ridiculous starts like in game 1, and if there's a Doom in the game, there's just only so much he can do.
This is where you got to really
Peter's thinking about this. I agree with you. I think this is a crucial point.
Because it's like you let the Ember through, but then we could snag up the Night Stalker for ourselves.
Okay, they're going to let the Doom through.
All right, so this could mean CDC will pick up a Doom, and Evil Geniuses could have their choice, maybe even going for the early AA, just to quickly counter that Doom. We'll have to see. CDEC are like, oh, we got a couple of options here for ourselves.
Yeah, real decision time, knowing that if they pass on the Doom with this pick, EG is almost certainly going to pick it up. All right, that's not a surprise. Now, will EG go for the Night Stalker with their first pick?
No, I think they'll go for the AA. The same way we saw in day 1 with game 1 by Evil Geniuses.
You thinking maybe AA leaving open the possibility for an AA Venom? That combo definitely sick.
I don't think so. I don't think Evil Geniuses has played it nearly enough to actually trust that it's great. It's not something that I feel like RTC and Sumail would even like playing.
Fair enough.
And players play the best when they're having fun doing what they do. And
I was thinking about for that combo that for EG especially, that you might be able to get away with that combo as supports if you can pick some strong lockdown cores. But yeah, I would tend to shy away from that just because EG haven't run that as much.
Fear has played Venomancer. At that point, though, it was like a core mid Venomancer back in the day, and they could try to do something like Cloud9-esque where they had Savage played in the 4 position, but then again, you said you want to be having fun with a hero. How do you have fun really with a Venomancer?
Yeah, so that's the AA pickup. I like the Clockwork pickup as well, even though, they have a Doombringer already, which will more than likely go into the offlane position. It's more to secure Universe, that Clockwork pickup. We know he's one of the best in the world on it, and Darkseer's banned out, Doombringer is picked up.
But it's a block pick too, remember?
No, I don't think
they've taken that first phase in both of the 2 games.
But they already have the Doombringer. I think they'd make a mistake in picking themselves into a double offlane. I don't think CDC
You don't think that CDC is thinking about at least the possibility of an aggressive Doom?
Nah.
Okay.
Well, they might, but I don't think they want to pick themselves into a corner where they pick off both the Doom and the Clockwork early on. It's more that they will ban it out now if EG hadn't picked it up. And this also leaves all the cores open for Evil Geniuses. They can basically go anywhere they want from this. Although I gotta say, picking Queen of Pain, picking Anti-Mage right now is...
I don't think you can. I straight up
not a lot of fun. I think the
Alchemist
is probably the best bet right now.
Boy, oh boy. Alchemist has just had such a hard road in the NA scene. I believe it was 2-8 in the NA Frankfurt qualifiers. Obviously, EG probably going to have a better constructed draft.
Ooh, Spectra. I really, really hope that they have enough confidence in going with that. They already have the, a global setup in the Clockwork and the Ancient Aberration.
I am actually on board with the Spectre so hard here, just because Spectre is one of the few heroes in the game that you can Doom, and as long as she's got Radiance and she's haunted, she doesn't really care.
I'm sure they want to be saving the Spectre, at least for now. So where do we get to fill the time between now and then, like a Fear Hero? Do they
good
go back
win-breaking
for a
ban.
Spirit Breaker even though they don't have the luxury of getting the
Spirit
Iron
Breaker
Shell?
or Undying are probably the two heroes we're looking at here. He's gonna get one of them with that Wind Ranger bond. That's the Undying ban coming out. It is, however, CDEC having the first pick, so they might pick up the Spirit Breaker beforehand, which is probably what Evil Geniuses are thinking right now. Are we gonna let them run amok with a Night Stalker, Doombringer, Spirit Breaker that's just also tanky and can just run us down? Or do we run that risk just for us to get the Spirit Breaker? I think that's the huge concern they have right now.
Yeah, I really don't think you can chance it, honestly. I think that hero just, it applied so much pressure in the last game, even if it didn't get, that many kills.
I just really like the way they itemized that Spirit Breaker. It's different from what we saw from Virtus Pro. Going into the Shadow Blade just made that surprise element that much more. And look at that, respect towards the Shiki Lina. It's going to get banned out, and the response, Templar
EG actually
Assassin.
had the first pick, so they could have taken the Spirit Breaker by now. Completely missed that.
So, interesting TA pick here, because TA has really looked like a feast or famine hero in the last couple of weeks. It looks like a world beater when it has a favorable matchup, but against a Venom, we've seen it against Veno AA just look like paper.
I think it's all right, especially because I think EG have some kind of realization that CDC only plays what they did during TI5.
Well, and
as
I
such,
think at the same
the
time,
Venomancer pickup will be a bit out of the ordinary. Normally they go for instance, Rubik. We know that Shiki is, or we don't know for a fact, but we're under the impression that he's not very good or at the highest level on heroes that he hasn't played much or isn't comfortable with.
God.
I'd like to
so
see him pick
dirty.
up the Lesrac the same way we saw MVP do up
You think
against the
safe
TA.
lane Lesh for EG?
No,
for
for CDC.
Oh, for
Against
CDC,
the
yeah,
With
exactly.
Diabolic Edict, I think that could work. I like the Let's pick up from CDC.
I don't know that Sumail is going to be as caught off by the Max Edict build.
I don't expect him to at all. But
yeah, that game, and I felt had a lot to do with just some TA players not necessarily knowing how to play against Max Edict, but I could be wrong on that. I think, though, I'm not surprised to see EG pick the mid-hero third, just because if you're a captain right now, after that last game, Sumail's pissed off. And you're saying, okay,
you want to give him
want?
something he wants to play. And the Queen of Pain is sort of out of the question with the Doombringer and the Night Stalker on the table already. So I think the Templar Assassin definitely makes sense.
Boy, I hate that Doom Lich off-lane potential is just so hard to play against. Arteezy, I think, you think about a Spectre. Is a Spectre going to be able to get anything out of a Radiant safely?
I think a lot of what Evil Genius is thinking about right now is how they can rotate their carry position.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, so this mixes things up a little bit, because remember, the other night when they ran this against LGD, it was Sumail who was placed on the safe lane slaughter, went Midas, early Midas, Blink Dagger, and it was Arteezy then that got shifted over into the mid lane. This could be an Arteezy mid TA with a Sumail safe lane slaughter.
What about Fear, 4-position Slardar? Taking a little bit of what they learned earlier today from
I think
Team
so.
Secret.
I think it could be. I think they would have picked up the Spirit Breaker already, or the Venomancer. I think the...
Oh, gosh.
Then that thing comes up and you're like, ugh, forgot about that thing.
I don't think they're that badly off against it, though.
Oh, with the Slaughter pickup, it makes a lot of sense
Right.
right now. Slaughter is, with amplified damage and the sprint, makes it a lot harder to play the Broodmother, especially because he goes into a Blink Dagger and can initiate on her. But at the same time, CDC has a lineup that creates a lot of space in the laning phase with the Lich and the Broodmother. Doom is hard to kill. I'm really thinking this is a 4-position Slaughter.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, though, if they had decided to gone for the Spirit Breaker, could have made CDC second guess about that Broodmother
It's still on the
commitment
table.
there. But it is still on the table, but that would require possibly, the role swap to put Arteezy on the Slardar and then swap Fear over to that.
No, I think if they did that, it would be Sumail safe lane Slardar again. They really liked how that worked out the other night. That Sumail just ran at people. I still, though, I'm on board with you, Mel, for the 4-position Slardar, if only because I think coming into this draft, the model had to be, Sumail goes to his captain and says, I'm going to wreck face. You give me this hero that I want, and I'm gonna hurt people.
And it's still the mid laner from Shiki that hasn't been picked up, and supposedly the 1 position from EG, if we do trust that Slaughter is the 4 position. I sincerely doubt that they're going to pick up a Venomancer for EG.
Venom for EG. Yeah, I mean,
There's no natural Doom target right now. Venomancer would immediately be that target, especially if it's a core position. Even if they change around the Slaughter to a 1 and the Venom to a 4, it would still be one of the better targets to either Doom or Silence. And without getting his ultimate off in teamfights, he's really useless.
Oh, man.
All right. So it is
going to be that one Slardar, and I like this. I think this is the right decision just because EG were such an aggressive team with that lineup the other day.
Yeah, and for several reasons as well. You know, when someone gets doomed or focused and silenced by the Nightstalker and Broodmother, you can just put the heal on them, and then at the same time they have 3 melee heroes running at you. When you use that Winter Wyvern ultimate, you completely reset the fight and make CDEC fight each other, which, you know, just benefits this Templar Assassin and Slaughter that can get off all their attacks and minus armor on them. So I really like Evil Genius's lineup, especially because there's no greed involved. They have one of the better offlane heroes, they have one of the better mid heroes, and they have 2 dedicated supports that can supposedly give a lot of space for the Slaughter. That'll enable EG to get that blink dagger up on the Slaughter and run over the CDEC lineup very early on.
Wow.
Ooh, is this going to be a mid Night Stalker?
Yeah, it looks like a mid Night Stalker here, and I am really not sure about this. So they're going to help out Night Stalker mid with the Lich, more than likely against the Arteezy TA. It's going to be a pretty tough matchup for TA early, but we've seen Arteezy play TA in all kinds of different situations. I think this is dead even, guys. I'm having a hard time calling this draft. Do you have a favorite?
Oh yeah, definitely the Evil Genius's lineup.
Okay.
I think CDEC is a bit all over the map in terms of synergy. I think they have a lot of lane control potential, but I think the Shiki on the Nightstalker middle lane is not something I'm sold on, and that last pick, Lion, not too big of a fan of either. But then again, Garda did play a great Lion yesterday.
Well, gentlemen, it all comes down to this one final game. Game number 3 of this final semifinal match. It's Evil Geniuses going against CDEC. Let's go ahead and throw it over to the Capitalist and Merlini. Gentlemen, take it away.
All right, Merlini, it is, in fact, our guaranteed last game of this semifinal. Before we get into the grand finals, EG versus CDEC, we've got a Doom and a Broodmother on one side, and a Slardar and a Templar Assassin on the other. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm liking EG's lineup. I see a lot of synergy, but then I just look at the individual heroes. Doom and Broodmother are pretty potent in this current patch.
We haven't seen too many Broodmothers go that crazy, though, today. It seems like teams are slowly starting to deal with them, even without hard Broodmother counters, so...
Yeah, we had that one Misery game, but it was just like, he got really far ahead, but he wasn't able to do like that much with it, as it was. He just got hunted down. Slaughter seems to be a pretty potent counter to the
Yeah, the amp is really good if you can survive the laning phase. And they do have Sentries, 2 Sentries on Ancient Apparition, and Dust on the Winter Wyvern, so they clearly want to kill him a lot early, or at least keep him away from the Slardar. And once you get 6, like, Brood can't really show himself in the lane. And you also want the early Blink Dagger on Slardar, and I think their team fights are actually a lot better than CDEC's, who usually don't skimp out on that aspect of their lineup.
We're going to see CDEC actually run the Lich here in the middle lane to get that early harassment against Arteezy. Rough lane. As especially because there's so much emphasis on these supports to shut out the Broodmother, you're not going to have the your fellow support to actually help you out against this Lich. At least not in the beginning anyway. Universe, he goes for the Cogs block, actually puts one of the creeps in the side. A little bit harder to do it on the Radiant side, but still possible. Just requires you to use 1 Tango. And this will make the creepy equilibriums go a little bit to his favor. He'll have a nice creep wave right in front of his tier 1.
It's not the most effective tool versus the Doombringer, though, because Doom can just go into the jungle, and then you can have your support take over the lane who desperately needs experience. So it's decent for them, and Aggressive already has a large creep, and he's utilizing the pool. So they're maximizing experience out of this top lane, even versus one of the best offlaners.
Or XZ, he's going to try and skitter his way through the side, but Peter, he knows what's going on, and he'll force XZ back as soon as he gets that damage on him. He has to break through the trees and is kind of forced away. He's not even going to be able to go for the rune, really. The middle lane, Arteezy, is going to take some more damage, but they can't pursue him out that far. They just continually push back against him and prevent him from getting CS.
Yeah, AA seems on permanent Broodmother duty, and it's just a really difficult time for XZ to do anything.
Oh no! He actually placed the web in order to get over to the rune, but he didn't quite have it far enough to the right, so he couldn't even get into his own web. The result is the haste rune is going to be taken by the Ancient Apparition. PPD immediately goes to shutting down XE once again.
It's going okay for CDEC, I suppose, because the mid lane RTZ has kind of been hampered in his efforts to CS.
Yeah, it seems like they've shut down the Broodmother enough that they're just going to leave one support there, and pretty classically, the Winter Wyvern is a great mid support.
I want to see what build Shiki goes, though, on his Night Stalker. Whether or not it's going to be like a phase and chase people down with Urn, which is especially good versus Templar Assassin, or whether it's going to be a more greedy Midas. It's highly unlikely that it's going to be a Midas, but they do have a Broodmother, which means that you want more late game insurance, especially when your Doombringer is a 1. Like, their high ground ability is just terrible, and they really need to win the lanes and control the map in order to win the game.
Gardner pushed away by Universe. Universe is about to pick up his level 4. Aggressive just gets a bit of damage on him. He did go back, as you were talking about when he did the Cogs block, he went back and got the Wolf Commander. So a great one to have. This does mean that the lane is going to push out constantly, though, as they've got that extra damage. So Clockwork should be
getting
fast.
Dangerously low.
Ooh, yeah, he really does. PPD goes for the level on Ice Vortex rather than Cold Feet. Not terribly surprising.
And no meld on Templar Assassin. So that's, I mean, that's better for if you're just gonna AFK farm and do stacks, do ancients and whatnot.
Yeah, that should be the Winter Wyvern's job every minute. Look to stack that up, and it looks like Arteezy is gonna be stacking up the hard camp at the exact same time. Knowing that the laning phase matchup is not going to be the greatest, they need to try and really abuse that Radiant side jungle as much as possible.
So there are already, what, 3 stacks there on the Ancients, so that's going to be really good. I think this EG early game phase is a slight win for them, just because the Broodmother is getting next to nothing. Already forced back to heal, nowhere close to completing the Soul Ring, and it only took 1 support to zone him out. And now they actually have to bring the Lich over.
They use the Tango to be able to kill the ward, but now Lich is actually going to get caught here. He's definitely dead. That's going to be your first blood. PPD runs himself away, actually runs into the counter ward, but doesn't choose to try and eat it just yet. He's just trying to stay ahead of Shiki, who knows that rotation is coming in, but the Void slows him down even further, and he will go down. A trade-off there, 1 for 1, but look at the heavy rotations. Jesus, CDEC. They're actually now committing aggressive as well, and they're going to find some... Okay, they're not going to find some, at least not yet anyway.
Yeah, he ate a couple
only
of trees.
had 1 Tango to get here. All right, they finally find him, but now the TPs are going to be able to come in. A 2-man stun. Smail's just going to have to battle it out with Shiki as best as possible. The Cold Feet proc, it might actually lock down Shiki here with Universe coming in as well. The battery salt's taking him away. They don't get the stun, and Universe can stay in line, but they still can get a stun here. Actually gets Mini stunned up for a second, but Q gets hit by that one. EG hoping to be able to lock him down, but the CDC still have 4 heroes here. Universe and the rest of EG can't fight just yet into all of this, being corralled into their tier 1 tower. An incredibly unusual amount of aggressiveness from CDEC. I mean, they're a team that's known for these kind of plays, but at 5.5 minutes, it's pretty absurd. Universe goes for the kill on Q, leaves him with just 13 HP. Now they get the stun out from Samael, but EG going for that one wasn't really worth it. Now Samael's going to be dropping dangerously low. He's going to be able to slow everyone down. Fear nicely played with his Splinter Blast. They're going to turn on to aggressive, but Samael still does not have the damage necessary to go on that Doom. So the rest of EG back out, and CDC also realize they're low enough, they need to back themselves away. If it wasn't for the kill on the Clockwork, I would say that was a win for EG.
I also think so, because TA is now top on the CS chart.
Yeah.
And the CDC, they took way too long to find the slaughter. AA had died and then revived, and then, oh my goodness.
Oh, this is going to be close. They get the rocket double kill for Universe. What a beautifully placed rocket. Level 3 picks up both. Well worth the loss of our Samael
Wow, that was
Slardar.
all the way from the fountain.
Very nicely played. Throws it out for that 6-minute rune. And as you said, the Templar Assassin, top of the net worth, or top of the last hits anyway, the net worth still going in the favor of the Night Stalker thanks to those kills. But you have to remember RTC still has lots of farm to fall back on. No hard camp stack, but the Ancients is still ready to go.
They wanted to secure Brood's lane, though, and then they saw EG commit a few people. Like, okay, we got to bring everybody. We need everyone down here.
Yeah.
You want your Brood to be able to at least get level 5 and then rotate into the jungle if there's a lot of heroes down there. And their window of opportunity for Broodmother actually being a huge factor in the game is really limited because Slaughter's halfway to level 6. But luckily, he did have to commit to a Treads early, so he can't get away with just a Brown Boots Blink Rush, which would have made Broodmother's life much more difficult.
Right. They are going to have a very fast level 6 on Ancient Apparition, though, because of that the kills they got, the double kill that he got solo experience for both of those. So we're talking about a very direct counter to the Doom.
And let's see, they do ward up that spot. They don't have any like long range initiation though, like nothing like a Clockwork to kind of catch the TA who's going to be taking that stack out at some time. I guess that's kind of Night Stalker's job to do that, but he is not really that strong yet, opting for a Treads and more tanky build.
Yeah, and plus if TA does it during daytime, I really don't think they can contest the stack at all. Maybe during nighttime they could, but daytime is happening here in just 5 seconds. And CDEC are actually going to go for the smoke up, knowing that the Templar Assassin is busy.
Oh,
perhaps.
that's a haste. That's the worst rune, I would say. I don't know if they have any detection. So invisibility would have been just as bad. But Arteezy's free to take out the stack. It's already pretty low. Arteezy is not actually microing his illusions, and even if he pops a smoke, it's going to be a little bit too late.
Carter comes forwards, is revealed, gets off the Hex. Now Shiki makes it nighttime, and Arteezy still has the Refraction. It's coming up in another 2 seconds, but the Finger of Death will be enough to finish him off. The question is, are they going to be able to catch these heroes? There's a lot of heroes committed for this one. Hookshot in, grabs 2. Universe, great setup, but he doesn't have enough mana for the cogs as Splinter Blast comes forward. Garter is low. Samael immediately gets doomed up, and a great fight for CDEC. Looks like they may lose Garter at the last tick of that Cold Feet proc, but still, they shut down the Templar Assassin. Might even take some of the stack, though. This is risky with the amplified damage. Ice Blast over the top. Shiki is going to be just barely clipped by that one, and he will fall because of it. Now Samael surges forward. He's got that sprint. Going forward, trying to catch up to Aggressive. He doesn't have Scorched Earth, and that means he's very susceptible to all this physical damage. But Q managed to slow down Samael. Now he's got to get out of here, but he doesn't have sprint anymore. He just turns and fights Aggressive as best as possible. Got the stun up. Goes for the kill. Managed to get the double stun and gets it in the end. Q now tries to finish off Samael, but the right click isn't enough, and he's going to be turned around on as Arteezy comes in through the side. CDEC, all the aggressive plays in the world won't save you from that one.
They had to dive in way too deep to kill that, kill the Templar Assassin, because Clockwork was able to hookshot and kind of trap them on top of the hill over there, and that's one of the weaknesses with their lineup. Like they have to like run in to actually do anything, as opposed to being able to hook in with a Clockwork or blink in with a Slardar to just get a quick and easy pick. That's ideally what you want versus Templar Assassin. Right. And I don't think they have an urn yet, though. Shiki's actually pretty underfarmed considering the help that he got from the Lich at the start. Without the urn, they can't really take down the refraction charges fast enough to come out of fights relatively unscathed.
Considering he was easily top of the net worth board at one point in time. Oh, they got the amplified damage onto XC, and this is really the beautiful thing about, oh, the hookshot misses. About the Slardar versus the Broodmother is that the Broodmother, that movement speed and that invis is only predicated on you being able to stay inside your webs, but Slardar just chases you down with all that vision he gets from Amplify.
And here they go, it's classic CDEC style. Another smoke trying to make things happen before Slardar gets his Blink Dagger.
Going into that jungle, if they get PPD, they won't be happy. PPD seems to know exactly what's happening. In fact, he's not even going to be ganked up, it looks like. With the Ice Vortex slowing them down, CDEC don't catch up in time. And he pops the smoke for free. Great read by EG.
Yeah, sick positioning by him. They also don't scout out that stack that's a little bit to the left of the Observer Ward. And TA is well on her way to, you know, getting an early Dezo. Combine that with Slardar, and they can easily smoke in and take Roche when CDEC doesn't really have that full control of the map. They're forced to move around in pretty large packs because Clockwork's like really good against any of their heroes that he catches out, aside from perhaps Brood if he has Spider Wings around.
Yeah. They managed to get the deny on the middle tower. Arteezy couldn't commit to that one. Looks like you go for the Desolator builds here, right? just to ensure more split pushing, more minus armor between him and the amplify damage.
Yeah, I think it's mostly just to get the Aegis though, and
Yeah.
smoke up with Slardar and take it down really, really quickly, or even just smoke it by yourself and get Slardar to blink in. I think it's going to be a big, big problem if TA is allowed to get that Aegis. And CDC, they're really suffering in terms of farm and Shiki. Shiki is 3,500 net worth. That's just a little bit ahead of Universe's Clockwork, who has died 2 times.
Evil Genius is, if that's the plan.
Oh,
if
they scouted
Roshan
out
is-
these two with a TA trap.
Yeah. So our TZ is going to be able to slow them down. Gardner can't get the long-range stun in. Now, if that's going to be part of your plan, do you make actually a concerted effort to bring down that tier 1 tower in the bottom lane?
I think you need to keep like XZ around that area, but he has no control. He's like always huddled next to his tower. If he gets amped up, he is, you know, kind of rendered useless for the next 30 seconds, and a blink stun can easily kill him. He has no HP, so you kind of, I think they need to gank the Bruce lane and then take that tower, or just gank the Bruce lane and let her take control of the jungle. But I think it's going to be a little bit too late. Sumail hunting around with an invisibility rune, just 150 of gold away from his blink. If he manages to die at this point, maybe they can take control of that, but I think the blink is going to be very problematic combined with Clockwork's hook shot. Even with a Night Stalker on their team, I still think that they're going to get jumped a lot. He's not really scouting too much with his broodlings. It's mostly just pushed in lane, and they have like max rocket flare.
Shiki actually runs right into Sumail there. The ward gets placed down. I'm not sure. I think CDEC actually saw that with nighttime vision from the Night Stalkers, so they shouldn't be surprised by this smoking.
They're really getting punished though for the Broodmother.
Okay. Gardner's gonna get picked off.
They've had to devote so many resources on the side of CDC to help them after the poor early game.
Yeah.
So it was just one AA that they committed for like 3 or 4 minutes, and in return for the Brood pick, they've had to throw like 3 or 4 heroes down here for the past 10 minutes to get a grasp of this lane, and they haven't been able to manage Sardar's Blink Dagger. They haven't been able to keep AA from hitting level 6. They lost their mid T1 tower because they had so many heroes down there, and that's just going to lead to a super
Quick
easy
jump.
roach soon.
XZ just gets bursted down. Nice positioning there with the counter ward. Sitting right on top of the Broodmother. This is looking worse and worse for CDEC. As if they can manage, oh, they're actually gonna go, I'm not sure if they could go straight for Roshan. They have to wait out the Desolator. But I'd love for EG to actually take the CDEC tier 1 tower at that bottom lane, just to free up Roshan that much more. Shiki is gonna be gone on here with the Winter's Curse and the amplified damage. That is such a sick combination. Later on into the game, when you have Winter's Curse catching some of those allies and you have amplified damage on the person that's being hit, so much synergy between those two.
Shiki's mid versatility is coming in a suspect more and more recently, and we saw him dominate on the Lina, but other heroes that we've seen, the Ember Spirit, first the Night Stalker, here it's just very, very underwhelming in terms of being able to take control of the game like a lot of the other mid heroes, or even just pressure other lanes. It's nighttime, sure, and still he's just getting picked off. EG doesn't even care that it's nighttime.
Blade Mountain now finished up for the Clockwork. We've got an urn on the Ancient
Smoke
Apparition.
movement
That'll help.
down bottom.
Sumail, is he going to be caught by this one? It looks like Sumail's actually going to be going for the minus. Kind of like this idea.
I think it might be Armlet.
Oh, yeah, okay. I can see that.
They don't need a Midas. TA does way more than enough damage.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking of the Midas because we used to see, like, when Alliance would run, the Slardar, Lodo would occasionally go for the Midas, similar to the main that Mid King would, but I agree with you. I think the Armlet makes a lot
Midas isn't that bad, but I think versus a CDEC, you don't really need to go Midases because they don't...
They're such an aggressive team that it doesn't make much sense getting on farming items.
You'll lose out on fights that you would have won if you had 2,000 gold in fighting items instead.
Yeah.
And their late game's not even that scary. They have an underfarmed Night Stalker, a useless Broodmother, and a Doombringer as their position 1. Doombringer is pretty farmed, but it's just a Doombringer. And he can easily get focused down with Slardar because he has to build like a lot of armor items or just Winter's Cursed.
And with the Ice Blast.
Yeah, Ice Blast.
That gives him so heavily because he's not a very, like, he's got a lot of HP, but he doesn't have a whole lot of armor, so he's susceptible to the amplified damage, and he's overly dependent on his HP regen at that point.
Yeah, Ice Blast is going to destroy him, and at least they get the bottom tower on the side of CDEC, so that's kind of decent. That will help them try and secure Roche, but EG, they're not really under that much pressure. They just get picks off with Slardar, just try and avoid Doom. Like, have we seen a Doom yet?
No, No. There was one on Sumail, but it didn't.
Oh, yeah.
All it stopped was his aggression. It didn't actually threaten Sumail. As he continued and actually killed the Doom later on in that fight.
Still, the lack of initiation is really hurting them. Maybe once Garda gets his Blink Dagger, which is just 300 gold, they can make another move. But as of this point, EG just kind of playing smart. Look at all these traps in the opponent's jungle. He's always keeping tabs on them. First it was a HOD creep in game number 2, and now it's this. And where do they really move? They anticipate the smoke ganks, and then if they see anyone in their jungle farming, they know that they're not smoking, and they can just completely take advantage of the other side of the map.
Yeah, exactly. They just saw the Lich rotate into the jungle. Shiki is all alone in this middle lane. They'll quickly pick him off.
Yeah, and I mean, Doom's okay, but like you have to be able to Doom people and kill people. He doesn't have any kills, just 1 assist in 17 minutes of the game, and they're like, okay, whatever, we'll let you farm. How are you going to deal with our TA later?
Yeah.
And yeah, she might get doomed once, but she'll most likely have the Aegis, especially with this T2 tower taken down. It's super unlikely that CDEC can defend it, especially with daytime.
Yeah, and combine the fact that EG oftentimes are going to get the initiation. If you're doing, you know, kind of a defensive Doom, you're reacting to the aggression of RTZ. He's probably going to get a Blink Dagger here, right, as his next item. And then you're talking about RTZ jumping in, pretty much blowing up one hero with the meld, and then, yeah, you doom him, but he'll just keep fighting. He'll still put out a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think they might have gotten inspired by the earlier Lich pick versus the Slardar, which seemed to do pretty well versus Monkey Business, but that was versus a support Slardar, and one that wasn't able to get Blink that early, as well as no synergy with the amplified damage. When you're talking about like heavy levels of amp plus meld strike and then a Desolator, the Frost Armor only does so much versus that. Like you'll die in 2 hits instead of 3, perhaps.
His reaction to all those Broodlings skittering up to him is to quickly Ice Blast it, and then they get the rocket. He knows that the Broodmother's probably nearby. He didn't want to risk going down to that swarm. And there's the armlet, as you predicted, for the Slardar. Nice fighting item for him. He's going to be tanky as all hell.
Looks like XZ and Doom have built Midases, so they're trying to transition into a later game build, but Doom's also committing for a BKB right now, which is also not very good versus Ice Blast, not very good versus Amp, not very good versus Winter's Curse, and not very good versus Meld/Deso. So I think they don't have the items to team fight them. They don't have the heroes that are suitable for late game, and they also don't have the team fight because of the Broodmother. So all aspects of their lineup have kind of fallen apart because of the weak early game from CDEC.
Do you think you should have gone like the armor build, Shiva's AC on the
I think he just needed to be involved more.
Yeah.
Like the way that they played was just sacking the Brood completely. They went for a gank for him, but it was a little bit too late, and kind of left him to the wolves there. It might have been better for him to kind of pair him up top and then have like a Doom Lion in the bottom lane to make sure that Brood has a good early start. But when Brood gets off to a start like this, like how do you supposed to recover? Like Slaughter is just always going to hunt you down. TA can also just kill your creeps. Clockwork's always going to be hunting you. There's no real way for you to push out the lanes like you want to do as a Brood, unless people are under farmed. But they can't keep them under farmed if Sumail just, you know, kind of has his own way for the first 15 minutes of the game.
Now the pushing power of the Templar Assassin is coming into play with that Desolator and Refraction. CDC try and jump him, but he managed to blink back in time. Fierce now going to come forward, gets the Winter's Curse, catches Garter, and the same time they're going to go on to Q, trying to blow up both supports at the same time. Neither one is successful as Q backs away, and they get a really good Change Frost. Looks like Sumail is going to go down because of that one. RTZ jumps forward, going on to Shiki, does manage to finish him off. No miss percentage chance there, but he'll lose his Aegis, trapped in the side. Q is they're going to try and get him before he can blink himself away, but he pops a Refraction, blink is up, gets over to the side, and doesn't look like CDEC even wanted to fight that Templar Assassin even underneath the Tier 1 tower and in that trapped area. They probably figure it's just a bad idea with most of EG still up. As you can see, whoa, almost two-shotting him. RTZ comes in close quarters with that Lich, but doesn't quite manage to finish him off.
That's a kind of waste of the Aegis, though. And he got him. One downside of the armlet is that you take the regen if you get, or you take the negative regen if you get doomed. And I think he was at like 70% HP and just got owned by Chain Frost and Doom. So I think that Slaughter, like generally the build is like Blink Peek AB. Armlet is okay, but it looks like they were able to kind of burst down TA without using Doom. So they got kind of antsy. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
we have Aegis, we can fight now. But maybe they didn't see the BKB on Doom. Maybe they didn't think that CDEC was going to fight there, but they're not that far behind in terms of net worth, and it was during nighttime.
Ice Blast just barely touches Shiki, but it's enough to force him back from where he was farming.
I'm really surprised TA is going for Crystallis. MKB has a lot of value this game. He took way too long to kill I think it was a Night Stalker because he missed a few times because of Crippling Fear. On top of that, there's Incapacitating Bite. So those are spells that he has to deal with. And I mean, I guess it is kind of important to be able to have the option of one-shotting people.
Yeah,
and you don't really have to worry about Hex or anything.
Just like Desolator, there's a lot of very cheap value in the Crystallis. Maybe he doesn't
true.
fully commit to the Daedalus and just goes Crystallis and then MKB.
Yeah.
We're going to have a fight here in the bottom lane. Looks like Universe trying to get away with his invis, but he's not going to make it. The Ice Blast clips a couple, and Universe does go down. PPD actually may survive, though. Earn for an earn. PPD still getting away. Shiki trying to catch up to Vision here, but they just continue to dive. They're going to lose their tier 2 in the top area. Shiki does manage to pick up the kill. But as said, RTC's just chopping away at that tier 2 tower, so the trade-off there, obviously to the favor of CDEC, but not dramatically so.
Probably the best gank that we've seen from CDC in the past couple of games.
Winter's Curse, the miss percentage chance is causing RTC some serious havoc, though, and won't be able to finish him off. Looks like the Winter Wyvern managed to blink himself back, TP's out, and forces rotations from CDEC, but doesn't manage to get the kill for EG.
I mean, still, look at Cheeky's progression on the net worth chart. He's at number 6 right now. He's even fallen behind a Broodmother, who has kind of been shut down in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, rough game, even going
really
for the
rough.
Vlads now.
They need a Scepter on him. They need, like, just way more items on him. He's almost doubled up by RTC in the mid lane.
Well, he's coming in soon. He's got the Yoga Club. Enough for the point booster. We'll see.
So we see Blink Dagger online. That's a really good step. Doom looks like he's going to build Shivas too. That's also another tool of initiation, although they probably need a blink on him so he can actually run in. Unless, of course, Night Stalker gets big enough that he can start off the fight. But I don't know if he's going to get there.
Yeah, I'm not so sure either. I mean, how do you really continue to farm as a Night Stalker?
I'm a little surprised he didn't go into Midas because Aggressive and XC both did. So, like with the Midas, you're almost always on the same tune with your other heroes. Like, oh, my ultimate's on cooldown, or it's like daytime. Okay, we'll farm when our Midases are up, and then go kill when our ultimates are up. And
Samael setting things up for RTZ to farm through this stack. Probably just gonna wait out the next Aegis. That's coming up in another 3 minutes time, so maybe a little bit of smoke movement, waiting out Roshan to spawn, and then we'll see that extra life for EG, and maybe even push uphill. There's gonna be one of our smokes. And they do have more on EG, even if this one fails.
Nasty double damage. If he gets a crit with that.
Oh man, somebody could just pull a Houdini and disappear soon.
They're playing pretty well around the day/nighttime cycle, minus the one big blunder on that bottom T1 tower. CDEC as well. There's a much different rhythm to the game when there's a Night Stalker.
Yeah. Little things in life. Broodmother gets a strength treads at 25 minutes.
So another option to dealing with the miss from Crippling Fear is to get a Manta style or BKB. So it looks like he might be proceeding into that to dispel the fear. It's also nice to, like, you know, if you suspect Lion's about to blink on you or Doom's about to doom you, you can Manta out and kind of buys you some survivability that BKB won't necessarily do for you.
There's a lot of pushing power because you got the Desolator and so much damage.
First world problems, man.
Yeah.
I did too much damage.
Universe is trying to build a 4-staff right now. Just interrupted the Broodmother's babies farming away at the Radiant jungle. But they've got to split this farm so heavily. It's like they're all fighting over who gets to farm up the Ancients. Because really it's you deal with the mid lane push, you deal with the top lane push, maybe you farm Ancients, and that's about it. Their map control is so severely limited on the side of CDEC.
And here we see another smoke before daytime ends. Darkness is up. And hopefully they can pop Cheeky before he gets that off. I think he's actually the best target aside from Doombringer.
Here it comes. Managed to actually lock down Aggressive inside of the cogs, and will just try and get out now. The Winter's Curse holds him in, and Arteezy's going to commit for this kill. Does get zoomed up, but they manage to pick up the kill towards the tail end. The Chain Frost bouncing around, though. They've already taken out Sumail as well as Arteezy. Looks like Universe is going to go down inside soon as the right clicks falling in. Garter really committing for this one. He's going to take off for the Ice Blast sooner or later. XC now coming forward inside of the webs, trying to catch up to Peter. Lays down another one, now pops the ultimate. PPD knows he's not escaping from this, just tries to buy as much time as possible. But another great situation. CDEC seem to be getting really good Chain Frost.
That was a sick impale by Garter. He hit, I think, 3 heroes right as the Chain Frost was hitting them, and then the Doom TA and the Slaughter just both got eliminated. I thought I think that they wanted to just kill Doom before he was able to pop his BKB and turn around and doom someone, but he had way too much armor. Frost armor plus plate mail plus pretty good positioning.
And it felt like maybe Universe's initiation was just perhaps a bit too far forward. Like he actually forced staff forward and then hookshot and everything else when he could have just waited out his team getting a bit closer.
Yeah, it's okay if you want to bait out the BKBs, but that did not seem like their plan. They wanted to burst them down, in which case it would have been better to wait for your whole entire team.
Yeah. Perhaps a little bit of mixed communication from the side of EG.
They do have a lot of
once
lockdown,
again.
though.
Sometimes he sees these heroes TPing out. He just can't get there in time, even with his sprint and blink.
That's a huge fight for CDC, yet they still have the same problem of their late game being questionable.
Yeah, they are pulling back. I mean, the net worth advantage has never been massively in the favor of EG. Only about 5 to 6K at one point, but now that's pulling down to about 2,500.
I mean, with Broodmother as well as Alchemist, you need a net worth lead to to stay even. If it's even, you're losing. Obviously, if it's an opposite team favor, you're really losing.
Yeah, Broodmother's just not a hero that fights very well and eventually drops off as the game goes later.
But BKBs should aid a little bit. They already have a Blink Dagger on Winter Wyvern, so that's actually really bad for CDC because they won't be able to pop their BKBs. They have like the chain stun with Winter's Curse and a Blink Slaughter stun, and by that time AA ult will hit, and then you're going to die regardless of whether or not you BKB. So that's a little dangerous. And again, it's on Night Stalker to kind of control these fights and make sure that Winter Wyvern is spotted out in time. And I don't think they spotted his Ags. He does have an Ags and a Gem, and will likely be able to scout out Fear if he tries to approach from the side. He's always in the tree line trying to fly with Arctic Burn, and then get a Winter's Curse on Doom or another high priority hero.
Looking for the Broodmother in the trees, but she's already retreated, knowing that this Tier 2 tower's life is forfeit. And EG will actually continue forward. I doubt they're really going to commit to a push if hit the Tier 3 at all, really.
But they have so little kept from CDC. As long as they have a Force Staff, they can just Force Staff away from the Lion initiation. So it's not that big of a deal if they slow siege this.
Well, what would EG wait on when it comes to items pushing uphill?
You just wait for a bigger net worth lead. Like CDC is somewhat like their late game is not good. So the longer the game goes, the better it is for you. So it's not even just any particular item. It's just that they scale so much better. Like Daedalus on Templar Assassin or AC and BKB on Slaughter. If you really want me to name items, but it's just more like even net worth is better for EG. And
if you're truly aiming at the best potential late game on a Doom, right? That's going to be a losing engagement, but you still are going in that direction anyway.
I think
what's the build?
BKB Shiva's Scepter Refresher, I would say.
Yeah, so you like the Ags Refresher.
But unfortunately, you need Shiki there to do the right-click damage if you go the utility build. And Doom's just not that great at a right-click build. He's really good at tanking and really good at just dooming people and double dooming people and just kind of taking 2 people out of the fights. But if you have no physical damage to back it up, then it's not terribly useful. And Broodmother really isn't going to be able to provide that physical damage, so that's where you need Night Stalker. We've seen some like Battle Night Stalker builds with like Armlet, sometimes like Abyssal is pretty good. Like one of those sort of builds, even like SNY, I've seen somewhat successfully on a Night Stalker, but those items are not on his horizon.
No, certainly not with only the Ags and Gem to operate on.
Or Helmet Dominator. I think Helmet Dominator is actually really good. They could really use the HOD armor as well as the ice armor. but even that is, what, 14 armor with level 4 ice armor? That's only, like, even level 2 amplify will still put you in the negatives.
Another 2 minutes. EG, let's see if they actually try and use this this Aegis for a push uphill, if they just control the game and build up a net worth lead.
The Shivas is coming out pretty soon for Doom. I think they can actually take a really big fight off of that, because he can blink Doom BKB in and Doom someone.
Yeah.
And TA without an Aegis is actually going to be pretty vulnerable to that. And they should be able to get the jump because of the Night Stalker. So that's a pretty huge spike in CDEC's jump in the lineup. And now that they have the Ags, they hopefully won't jump into the situation that they were in last fight, where aggressive kind of gets jumped blindly.
One thing they're really missing here is the Aghanims on the Ancient Apparition.
Well, that's just Peter, though. Peter.
Yeah. But at the
rarely
same time,
gets the
you're
fun.
looking at the net worth. Like, he's still buying wards when you look at the Winter Wyvern. Is Glimmer Cape really that necessary when that gold could perhaps be better utilized to help the Ancient Apparition get Ags?
I mean, they can't really help it that much, though, because Peter is the one that's like laying wards and whatnot, and Winter Wyvern has a lot more mobility with being able to fly and having the blink dagger. So naturally, the Ancient Apparition is going to die more in the team fights. So it's, you know, it's really difficult to prevent that sort of discrepancy in between the two, unless you have Ancient Apparition never in the fights, but that's not Peter's style.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's just the fact that.
Yeah, it is. I would agree that's more
buying
useful,
wards.
but it would sacrifice too much and cause too much of a rift in EG's roles to kind of make that happen. Maybe they'll pick Alchemist and just kind of dump him, Max. He can feel rich for one day.
BD, now's your time to shine. All right, we got Daedalus and Aghanims finished up for EG. CDEC, do they contest Roshan when it comes up in 3.5 minutes? Because we really have to look late into the future, it seems. EG are just very content with controlling this game.
I think with the
ensuring
Shivas, they can actually take a fight. They don't have to wait for a Roshan.
Yeah, okay.
They have to wait for nighttime, though. So let's see. Minimum Roshan respawn is 2.5 minutes, which is right about 36, which is
Where nighttime starts.
where nighttime starts. So
Perfect.
they can make a move, I would say, even before that, like 35-ish, 35-10.
Yeah, with the
It's like a
darkness
10.
going in.
Yeah, I don't know if Aggressive is going to commit to buying that Shivas, because if they do lose that fight, that's almost game over, because Doom won't have buyback. They lose Aegis and Cheese, and they get a lot of damage on their building. So it's a super risky play, but I also think it's super risky not doing anything and letting TA get really big without having Ags Refresher on your Doombringer. If you have Ags Refresher on Doombringer, you Doom Slaughter, you Doom TA, and then boom, you're done. So it looks like they're going to smoke a little bit earlier than expected.
Pushing on out. This is
Okay, now it's too obvious. Like top tower is under siege and
Yeah.
no one's defending it. So
the Brood Brothers trying to rotate over,
yeah,
but
they already know.
very slow, and EG just hold to high grounds. I mean, they're still going to be able to farm up, but they just farm very safely.
So let's see, next move. I don't know, EG still have to play very carefully with darkness coming up, or nighttime coming up. Still, it's really hurting Shiki's farm. He's still number 6. Kind of, you know, Fear is 1,800 gold behind him. That is a really big, dangerous sign.
More wards, PPD. He's just like, no, I'm not getting the Academic Scepter ever. I'm buying all the wards, all of them. Just keeps on buying those obs. It's like the Force Staff coming in for the Lich. A little bit of extra utility for that guy. At least he's got something to do in the team fights now besides throw Chain Frost.
So now we come to a pretty tense team fight coming up. That's going to decide the fate of Roshan.
Pop in the darkness. We're 6 minutes in, and we know it's going to be a rather early Roshan CDEC. See if they actually respond in time.
And as usual, when drafting against a Night Stalker, they have multiple tools to get vision so they don't get jumped into darkness. They have the TA trap. They have the, what was that, BKB?
That was just a misclick.
And then they have the Rocket Flare from Clockwork, as well as slight flying vision from Winter Wyvern. So that's all pretty useful to have versus the Night Stalker. But Night Stalker, I mean, still has the trump card with the Ags nighttime.
Those delicious spiderlings. So much farm for a winter wyvern.
Okay, did they finally get a gem? I saw. Oh yeah, now they're so slowly starting to clear out traps, but there's still a ton of traps on their side of the river. But it's important to deward so that EG actually feels somewhat threatened when they go for a Roshan. Last two were just completely uncontested.
One
Actually,
of the obvious
not
ones
true.
is they really need to take away that Roshan trap.
Yeah. Yep.
EG though, obviously you've seen kind of the net worth climbing over time because CDEC have been 5-manning, stuck inside their own base, so a lot more farm efficiency for EG at this point in the game, but it's all for nothing if they just lose one fight, as that one's coming up quite soon. 3,900 gold on RTZ. BKB next, just because of the Lion and that missed percentage chance you were talking about earlier, still kind of annoying even with Manta.
Maybe Moonshard, so he can have room for Aegis. I don't really think he wants to.
Okay.
I think he wants to carry an Aegis, and I don't think he wants to have like 7,000 gold in his bank.
That actually makes a lot more sense. When he first said Moonshard, I was like, wait, what? But
Yeah, he really needs the slots. He's too farmed.
First world problem.
Okay, this is it. CDEC needs to get there now.
Yeah, they certainly do. With all this minus armor, they take down Roshan so quickly. And Shiki's making his way in, but Roshan's already dead. It's too late for the CDEC. Oh, no bother. Oh, bother. He throws out the Doom. They're going to try and make the initiation onto Samael. They actually control him pretty well, but Gardner is immediately going to be popped. Now Universe blocks in Shiki. Samael jumps in and gives away that Aegis. Not a problem is they're going to be able to easily win this fight. Now Aggressive finally makes his debut as he was stuck on the cliff for a while. Jumps onto RTZ, Cold Embrace, and the Chain Frost's actually bouncing around quite nicely. Q's still going to go down. Looks like Universe. He's trying to get enough distance to maybe get a Force Staff and live. And yeah, they just blow up the Broodmothers. The rest of the team surges forward. Aggressive, defensive blink, the third blink in this team fight. And it's going to be locked in by the hook shot. That's going to be a total wipe. And EG, that looks to be perhaps the end of the game as there's only 2 buybacks on the side of CDEC.
Ouch, that's a painful blink. I don't think it would have made that much of a difference. I don't think Roche was in danger of being stolen by CDEC, but just a game of tragedies for CDEC.
Yeah, certainly. At the very least, it's going to be a lane of Rags before CDEC can mount up 5.
Honestly, I think CDC should start thinking about first picking the Lina in the first phase.
Yeah.
Is that important to them?
I will not disagree with that, considering his performance in game number 2. And EG, once again, just playing it very safe, as they've been doing all game long. They take the 1 lane of Rags back out, and we may even see them wait for the next Roshan, get another Aegis, and that would be Cheese as well.
Yeah, they had to blow both in the last fight, so it's not really warranted that they should push again. Buyback on Doom. It's good enough. Just one more pick on him. Still, just no damage coming out from CDC. Who does the damage in this? Night Stalker doesn't hit hard at all. Broodmother forced to go very defensive items, even with the Talisman of Evasion first over the Eagle Song. Lich has to deal with like the BKB on Slardar. And then Lion a little bit, but even then they have Glimmer Cape from Winter.
Right. He gets the MKB for RTZ. All out damage. So we'll probably see the Moonshard next up. And then he's going to be almost maxed out. Like he'll have to, maybe he'll swap out some items. Get Boots of Travels, that sort of thing.
Yeah, Boots of Travel for buyback is ideally next. Don't need the Moonshard.
Oh, hey, after that fight, PPD actually got his eggs. Just now noticed that.
That's scary.
Congrats. XC's trying to build a butterfly, but he's only got the smaller parts, not that bigger eagle song.
Shiki's poorer than the Winter Wyvern. It has happened.
Yep, your mid is now behind supports. 3-man Ice Blast. AG just sort of taunting CDC at this point in time.
So they've had like really good coordination with their clockwork rockets, I think. Like, as you mentioned, like the Ice Blast into clearing the spiders, as well as like the double kill on bottom. I think the rocket has been a fairly important part for their early game. Why Clockwork will continue to be a top pick.
I like the Lotus Storm versus the incoming Hex. They get the Shiva's initiation, but Smail's already got the sprint plus the BKB up. In fact, he turns around, gets a quick bash on Aggressive. Fear managing to get off the Winter's Curse with the AC coming in for the side. Arteezy, he's going to be able to blow up a lot of these heroes unless he gets controlled up by that line, which is exactly what happens. The Kong's pushback does a lot of damage, but it's still not enough to finish up any of those heroes. Universe tries to save Arteezy's initiation, but CDEC find the opening that they really needed.
Yeah, finally they get a good jump with nighttime. That's what Night Stalker was all about. Getting the jump on them. Arteezy didn't have a BKB, so he just got hexed and died. It also didn't pop his Manta in time.
He was in like such a great position to go just completely wild there, but unfortunately that Lion Garter comes in at the right time.
Yeah, now
A lot of respect to him. By
now
the way.
the deaths are like significant enough that like the Doom's gonna cool down by the time that Templar
The Ice Blast actually kind of misses out, and Samael doesn't have a BKB. Oh dear, they're gonna be able to grab guard, and that'll be a free kill, but if they lose Samael for it, it's not really gonna be worth it. They throw the Lotus Orb onto Samael, trying to protect him. Aggressive just needs the level death, perhaps a little bit more right clicks, jumps forward, gets the level of death. Aggressive finds the kill, but now he's gonna be hook shotted down. He's already lost his Broodmother ally. He pops a BKB and turns to fight Peter, but one right click just did no damage whatsoever. There's no way they can threaten any of these heroes enough, and EG just stay on top of Aggressive long enough to get that additional kill. CDEC, they found original pickoff.
Wow, that's slow from Arctic Burn and Icy Vortex. Did you see Doom?
Oh yeah,
He's moving like a snail.
even with Scorched Earth, which is supposed to give him that extra movement speed, didn't matter.
So little do EG know that Aggressive does not have a buyback. He brought 2 Perseverances in hopes of completing his refresher.
Well, the Ice Blast misses, but Universe may still be able to get the kill anyway, especially with that Lotus Orb. Shiki can't even turn around and avoid him.
Got the gem.
Takes that one away. Our Doom, by the way, is going to be going for Refresher before the Aghanim Scepter.
It hasn't really, I guess it would have took long enough on Slardar. I don't know if it would have killed him that fight.
Yeah.
But having 2 Dooms is
Jump in,
nice.
Q. He gets the Force Staff out, should be fine. Universe is actually out of mana now. So no more hook shots. Q, oh no. He's gonna take out the rocket, it'll finish him off, and now RTC keeps pressing forward with all these cores down on the side of CDEC. They'll actually jump in Winter's Curse on XC. They'll finish off the last core of CDEC in quick fashion. And CDEC, is it time to call it? Carter's the only one left alive. They have a buyback on the Broodmother, but it's EG who know they could just take on these tier 4 towers. Looks like evil geniuses. We're gonna have perhaps a rematch of ESL 1 Frankfurt just before a TI. Different rosters, different teams. Oh, CDC are still gonna try and fight this one. They managed to get the Ice Blast out. The Doom goes out. Smail immediately gets a bash on it. Aggressive backs himself away to the Fountain once again, but they're just beating on the Fountain at this point. The Throne, that's all they need to do. Refresher comes up. Aggressive throws down another Doom, and they can't quite finish off the Throne just yet. Samael gets cold and braced up. He's gonna be able to turn and fight for the Throne. 250 HP. Go for it, Samael. Go for it. He needs one more. Can't quite get it. 45 HP. Universe gets it in the end, and EG win it in clutch fashion. You knew they had this game all along, but CDEC just decided to make the ending a little bit more climactic. So well done by Evil Geniuses. EG versus Team Secrets. Merlini, I know you're going to be on the panel now, but I want to get your thoughts first.
So
Who you really sign with?
I don't know. EG has kind of first day and then the series versus VP. I was very skeptical, but after seeing the series versus CDC, it looks like they've quickly gotten back to their form. So it's just kind of surprising how quickly they've adapted. I've always known them to be good at adapting, but now they're like excellent. And Secret, I don't know. I'll slightly favor EG.
Okay. All right. I'm kind of leaning that way too after this performance, but we'll see. It's time now to talk to our analysts and see what they thought about the series and moving forward into our grand finals.
Thank you so much, Cap. We're back at the panel with Melk and, of course, Nahaz. Evil Geniuses are going to be the second team now to secure that spot into the grand finals to face up against Team Secret. A rematch from ESL 1 Frankfurt. Should be a good one, but let's talk about the actual matchup itself.
Very convincing win this third game as well.
Absolutely.
I think all three games were convincing performances by the winning team. I gotta give it to Universe and PPD in this series. I feel like the Rockets especially, all the kills that happened just by Rocket and AA, it was a thing of beauty. I always love seeing people, you know, they're running to the fountain, they're like, oh, whew, I'm safe, I'm just gonna go home and heal, go back to my lane, and then, nope. Yeah. So I think those two were my MVPs, even though everyone from EG played great.
I think that's dead on. I really do. And to me, I actually like this game in terms of a statement from EG because the first two games were stomps. It's going to happen, especially in game one, when you've got a player like Sumail that just goes off. But this game, the lead actually wasn't that great. All the way up until like the 38, 39 minute mark, EG just played methodically, kept control of the game. They did have some nifty early game plays, though, that I think we can take a look at here.
So we have a BenQ best moment that we look to bring up here. But gentlemen, we also have to consider the fact CDEC pulled out something a bit different in their draft. They had Shiki pull out that Night Stalker, and unfortunately he wasn't ever able to find his farm.
Here's the early game play I was talking about. This is the beautiful snipe from Peter here on the AA. Night Stalker is going to shatter, and this is Sumail at his best, following the aggressive Doom up into the Dire jungle. He's going to take a couple of shots here, crush. He's going to back off when he first sees the Lich, but come on, this is Sumail. He doesn't know the word back. He's going to get another fight onto the Doom here. Two-man crush, barely kills the Doom, and they're able to chase off the Lich, and Sumail's able to live as well. I mean, this is just an exchange. Totally EG early game, rolling skirmishes, great coordination, great individual play.
He actually made it unnecessarily dramatic because he could have just bottled up on the chase up to the Doom. He had two bottle charges, he went on 70% health. Come on, Sumail, just use your bottle.
You're no fun, man.
He's going out for revenge from the last game.
It was a great play by him, definitely. And really shows the strength of Slithering Cross and the low cooldown it has. I think he optimizes the use of Slardar through knowing that he can keep on reinitiating. We saw it on the bottom fight as well in the Radiant jungle, how when they fought there, he kept on going back and forth, weaving back in and out on 15% HP.
Now that's really a trademark we've talked about a couple of times already of this weekend for Sumail, showing great patience in these fights.
Well, congratulations again to Evil Geniuses. They'll be in the grand final. Let's go ahead and go to the stage now where we have Zoe with the winner's interview with Fear.
Thank you so much. I now have Fear joining me. First of all, congratulations to you and your team. You guys made it into the grand final. That's going to happen anytime soon. But before, we once more, of course, want to talk a little bit about the games we just saw, starting with the first one. Clear dominance by EG right there. Sumail had probably the time of his life on that Quap. Now I want to generally ask what your thoughts are on Quap, because it feels in this very tournament she kind of fell out of favor. Like I mean, in the series before this one, we saw her being casually 5th pick because why not? You guys had the 3rd pick on that, and she doesn't seem to be like that heavily focused anymore. Do you think that has something to do with the trending NS, or where do you see Quap at the moment?
A lot of people favor because she's like a really strong laner, but heroes like Doom and Night Stalker, which are really popular picks, do kind of make her fall out, but she's also a hero that needs to snowball super hard, so some teams, they won't snowball 1 or 2 games with her, then they'll lose complete confidence in the heroes, but it's really dependent on the team.
All right, so in the second game, we didn't see you picking up Quap again, although the analyst desk they were really confident. It's like, oh yeah, they're going to go for Quap, definitely going to go for Quap. This is going to be a Quap. But it wasn't. You actually went for Magnus on Sumail. Do you feel you guys maybe underestimated the Lina play from the other team? Or like, what do you think went wrong in the second game there? Do you think it could have gone differently if you would have gone back to a similar kind of draft you did in the first game?
Oh, I think it went better for sure because that game was a disaster, but I think we had an idea of what we wanted to do like at the start of the game, and then Quap just didn't fit in that idea, so we just didn't pick it.
So what was the idea? What did you want to do without the lineup?
We wanted to make Anti-Mage really farmed, and it just didn't happen.
All right, well, however, the third game once more went in your favor. In general, did you expect the games to like play out like they did?
We didn't know what to expect. Like, we've had a lot of rough games. We haven't, played too much as a team yet, so we're kind of finding our groove. So we just went into it with no real expectations, just trying out new styles.
Right. So I assume that's the same mentality going into the grand finals now, going up against Secret as well?
Oh, yeah, for the most part, but we're kind of like finding what's winning us games now, and we're kind of just sticking to it.
All right, well, we can't wait to have the grand final here on stage. Once more, thanks a lot for joining me. And as I said, it's gonna happen really soon, so don't go anywhere. We are back with the grand finals in just a bit.